What's up, guys? So I'm gonna go over the market just in a general overview and a couple tickers. But before I get into this, if you do me a solid and hit that like button, leave a comment below, let me know how you're doing. It helps the channel grow. And my ultimate goal is to help people. So if you could help me out with that, I'd really appreciate it. Also, the Discord links in the description below. I run this Discord where I post my entries, exits, my thoughts throughout the day. And I'm also doing a small account challenge where I deposit $100 into this account every Friday, and I post my trades in there as well. So if you're at all interested in joining, the link's in the description below. But let's get into the charts. So I'm going to start with ES. As I was saying in yesterday's video, the weeklies in the historical overbought condition area. We've been higher a handful of times, but not many. We are definitely looking for a pullback at some point. And what happened today is we came down, we hit our weekly 8, right? But they smashed us into the close. So you can see that was on some decent volume, high selling. The way I'm looking at this now is we are holding the daily 8, right? So we have an indecision candle here. We are still looking for a daily higher low, but really at this point with how they flush that down into the end, we are looking for a hourly lower high. So we got our push down, looking for the bounce, and could continue down. We might get the SPY zone actually, and that'd be pretty nice. So my thoughts on the market themselves is that Powell talks on Friday. The market's closed. We also have the PCE data coming out on Friday. That's their preferred inflation numbers. So I think that the market's actually de-risking into that event. It would make sense. We're at all-time highs. We don't know what Powell's going to say. None of us do. I don't even want to swing heavy over the weekend because of that. And it's a holiday weekend. For all I know, like PPI and CPI have been coming in hotter than expected the past 4 reports, I believe. And now we have PCE. So say that comes in a little hotter than expected. That's their preferred inflation numbers as far as policy. And then Powell says something hawkish. He might hint at a potential rate hike, like that's not off the table, or something of that nature. Not that he would, but he could. So I think the market should de-risk into that. I don't want to allow my account to fluctuate too much over the weekend because of that event. So the only thing I would probably swing over the weekend would be the puts on SMCI for longer term for a gap fill. That's the only thing I'm thinking about doing. And then the small account challenge that's long term, so I'm not really worried about that. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go heavily into cash over the weekend. Um, so yeah, we're looking for a lower high right now. Could get this buy zone on ES and Q. That also dumped into the close. NQ's been weaker than the S&P 500, so we had that divergence, which I was saying to members today, that we still have to be mindful of this. It's slight bearish divergence, but it's still there. So we have to be aware of that and make sure that we're watching out for any kind of like high volume selling. That's going to indicate that this could be confirming right now. But we're still in a daily uptrend, so we're looking for the daily higher low. I thought we were going to get it on this day, and you can see we tried to break out and we rejected. So it's like a false break on the higher low. I don't like that price action. Really, we're holding the daily 8 as well. I would love if we can get down here in this buy zone plus a golden pocket. That'd be pretty sweet for a shorter term trade, but maybe a longer term. The hourly, you can see here as well, we flushed down into the close. Again, you can see this easily. This is weaker than ES. So we push down looking for our lower high, lower low. Give me that buy zone. Going to go over some tickers here. So SMCI, we did get a lower high on the daily. To confirm this, we need to break this candle, come down, and then try to form a higher high compared to here for the bulls to have any chance basically of pushing a new all-time high. The extent of this pullback will be very telling. You can see we did not have high volume on the day anyways, but that is due to us grinding sideways. So when you break down into here, this is what happened today on the hourly chart. We had bear divergence coming into the zone I was talking about. Give me 1100 I was saying, but this is the lines. This is what I was talking about. So around 1090-ish. We pushed up into it, gapped up, had the bearish divergence at the zone. There's a trend line I was connecting on the hourly as well that was just above that. Plus we have the gap. So I was pretty confident that this zone was going to hold. And I hit this trade. It's unfortunate on how they traded it throughout the day because it was a small win, what should have been a big win for me. But my trade reviews, I grabbed puts for April and then weeklies, out of the money weeklies again. And I went heavy. But I scaled out as they pushed it down. And once they came up here, they started bleeding it sideways for a very long time. And I cut my weeklies that were remaining. I was trying to let them trail, so I was hoping for a push down, lower high, come back down. And I would have held them and made a lot of money. But unfortunately, they pushed it down, came up here, went sideways, and I didn't like that. They're burning premiums. We don't have trading on Friday, so I have less time. And the last thing I want them to do is grind this sideways or try for another high and then burn the whole trade. It would have threw away a win. And they could do that because holiday weekend. So typically coming into a holiday, the volume starts to taper off. We start to grind upwards because there's less people participating in the market. But what I was saying to the members in the Discord today is that this is exactly what we wanted to see. So you can see we had some pretty high volume here. It was comparison to this over here. And we had a reversal candle. You can see it's a doji. We're at the zone. We have bearish divergence on the 30 and the hourly. I'm pretty confident that that's going to hold. We pushed down, came back up, and we start to tighten up. And I didn't like that. Like I said, that was almost all day. And in my eyes, when we had all that confluence here, we should have just pushed down, came up, pushed down again. We shouldn't have grinded sideways. And I didn't know if they were going to burn premiums. So like I said, I cut my weeklies. And I cut my April puts position right around here. And that's because that was our 20 moving average on the daily. So I didn't want to hold too much. And I said to members as well, we are looking for this to break. So we're looking for this low to break tomorrow. Bulls aren't just going to push a new all-time high without a trend change. You can't do that. Not with how much oversized supply there is. They could grind this sideways and, screw premium, like I said. So even with this, say we open up tomorrow in this bar, it could go sideways, form another candle, and then break that low and then break up. Ultimately, I would imagine they break this just based off how the market's acting right now. It looks very weak, NQ and ES. And also NVIDIA. I'll get there in a second, but as you can see, we rejected right off that zone. That's exactly what we wanted to see. This is where all the overhead supply was. The thing is, where do we go from here, right? So my thoughts for the next bounce would be we should look for hourly oversold conditions on extended hours charts, which we can go a lot further down for that. So we could come down here, push down, trade within this candle, break the low. But really, what I would probably look for is for this to hold. If we come down in here in a quick fashion, I would say this bull flag that we just had, that's probably going to provide some sort of bounce temporarily, maybe. Maybe that is our daily high or low. Not really sure. You can see we spent most of the days trading in there, so That's probably where we can anticipate something to happen as far as a bounce. Then after that, we're thin as far as during market hours. So we'd probably come down here and this little speed bump zone, but this would be a really good buy again. So I don't think we're just going to go fill that gap. The one I've been targeting right away, that's going to take some time. Like I said, anything can happen. I think it would have to be a news event, basically. Something that really alters the whole market itself. But basically, the further we pull back, so say we pull back here, set a lower high on a 4-hour chart maybe, which is what we're on right now, and pull back, and maybe we come all the way back down here. You know what I mean? If we do come down here, we're going to bounce probably. I'd be shocked if we didn't. But that might just set up our lower high on the daily, and then we come down here and fill this gap. The extent of the pullback is going to give us a lot of information here. So how far we pull back will determine if we're going to bust out the trend change or if we're going to enter a bunch of chop. So if we pull back all the way down to here compared to our last daily low, we could just start chopping up. They'll grind the premiums out and likely we'll form a triangle if that happens. So one thing we are doing is we're on a weekly inside bar right now. That's very likely to stay an inside bar this week. We only have 2 more trading days left. With this sell-off, our monthly chart has this upper wick. The more selling that occurs, the closer this gets to a reversal candle, and we're at 92 RSI. So we could definitely be entering longer-term consolidation now. That could have been the last push-up. We will see. I believe that's probable to be the case, but we have to see how far we pull back first. The extent of this push-up on the daily chart gives weight that we could just form a higher low and push up. This is a very bearish candle though, and we closed below the 20-period moving average. We should anticipate some further selling here in order to try to form our higher low on the daily. And if they do and break this for a trend change, we're bullish on every time frame, monthly, weekly, daily, all the way through. So we could push for another all-time high. It's wild. I didn't think it was possible, but anything I guess is possible. So that's my thoughts on SMCI. What I am thinking about doing is if they push this up, which they are right now, and they hold this bar tomorrow, I'm probably going to short against this. Still short against this sell-off. There's a decent amount of volume on the sell-off at the zone, so I'll short against this candle, anticipating that we get follow through on that candle to try to find our daily higher low. So that's my game plan. NVIDIA, this is more bearish in the after hours anyways than SMCI. So obviously monthly chart's extended like I've been talking about. Weekly chart is extended. We are starting to form our first red candle. We have 2 more trading days left. With NVIDIA, we are looking for our daily higher low. We have our 8-period exponential moving average right here. We have our 20. Really, this is an extremely bullish chart. We are rejecting from the same area as last time, so that's a little bit of a pause for concern for the bulls. They don't want to see this retrace too much. However, we are just looking for that daily higher low, and we should look for first hourly oversold conditions to start scouting that really. This was the zone before as far as regular trading hours on resistance, so we could anticipate maybe a buy here. You see we tried to hold it. We'll see what the bulls do going into tomorrow. And we'll have to audible our game plans accordingly based off the market information overnight. So Obviously, we still have our weekly gap that I've been talking about. That was our rejection candle on the daily with volume and on the weekly, and they pushed it up, tried to push for another high. We're starting to reject from that again. We'll have to see. Like I said, Powell talks on Friday, so who knows what's going to happen over the weekend. I know I might look short. It depends on how the market opens tomorrow. If we're already gapping down, the short's off the table. We're looking for daily higher lows, so I'll have to adjust accordingly, basically. Tesla. So Tesla on the weekly is rejecting from the 8. This for right now is just another bear flag potential. I'm bullish Tesla, but this candle is not a good looking candle. So we closed below the 20. You can see we're in a downtrend. Huge upper wick on some volume. So we broke that inverse head and shoulders I was talking about, bullish today. Started to get some upside potential. Came up to this gap right here and rejected. So this is not what the bulls want to see in the shorter term. I debated getting out of it. So you see we just kept pushing up on that breakout. We're pulling over, but at the same time, we're not that bearish. So you can see we're just looking for our 4-hour higher low right now. And we could push up. I'm still bullish Tesla. I'm not holding anything. Like I said, over this weekend, the most I would do is maybe hold a longer term put that I believe will ultimately fill certain targets. But I still have Tesla in the small account challenge. And I wish I could have some in my main account, but I don't trust what Powell's about to say on Friday. Call it a tinfoil hat theory, but it's just a little too coincidental for me that he's going to come out when the market's closed and it's their key inflation data. So I'd rather not, risk anything. I'll approach next week with a clean slate, aside from any longer dated puts I have on SMCI. So that's the way I'm kind of tackling this weekend. I might not trade at all on Thursday just because going into the holiday weekend, volume typically dries up. We slowly grind up. The volatility's not there. So it's not really good for trading. And like I said, with Powell talking, I'm not too crazy about all this. So I'm debating just, calling it a short week after Wednesday's trading. I know I want to make some moves tomorrow, but after that, I think I might be done. On Monday, I'll just start fresh, basically, and take in the weekend data starting on Sunday, because I'm sure whatever he says could shake the market a little bit. I think the market's de-risking into that, and I also want to de-risk, and there's always another opportunity to market. I don't have to make a trade. Like I was saying in the other video, though, our target out of this inverse head and shoulders is still up here. So we're far away. There's still a lot of opportunity to the upside on Tesla. That's kind of it for tonight. I just wanted to keep it short, sweet. Go over a little bit of stuff and see what tomorrow brings and adjust accordingly if I have to. So, like I said, if you watch this video all the way through, if you could help me out, hit the like button, leave a comment below. It helps the channel grow. And ultimately, I'm trying to reach more people, get more people in the Discord. That way, I'm able to help them learn and we can grow this community. And as well as the Discord, like if you're watching this, you're not in it, links in the description below. It's completely free for right now. It's not always going to be free. Take advantage of this. Ask me any kind of questions in here. I try to do my best to help people out. And until next time, I wish you the best in the markets.